Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's having a great day thus far, or end of day, no matter, I don't know what time you're listening to this. But be that as it may, hope you all have a great day. Made some gains and shit, and read. Unfortunately, today I'm probably not going to be able to read. I'm probably just going to be studied. I'm trying to update my resume and get a better job. You know what I'm saying? That's the progress. That's the process right now. Inflation is being a little bitch. Inflation is quite a bitch. So we all have to prepare ourselves and improve our skill set. You know what I'm saying? Like investing in our skill and acquiring more skills to be more, to obviously make more money in the workforce. So that's basically what I'm probably going to be doing today. I just came back from, I just did my first pool session back from my deload, and yeah, I'm feeling a little tired and I'm not in the mood to read. So today I feel really dumb. I kind of skipped over an important part of the Brothers Karamazov because I've been getting too excited with the developments with Dmitri and Ivan and all that stuff, which is it's starting to get really exciting. So kind of pretty good videos coming lined up for this. I'm really glad that such a great book like Brothers Karamazov is providing so much content that we can reflect and we can, you know, reflect on and kind of interpret it our own way and see how we apply it and shit like that. So if you haven't read it, like I keep saying, you have to read it. It's an amazing book. I'm kind of torn whether should I go ahead with Crime and Punishment afterwards. I feel like I should. It is his most famous work, and I'm honestly never read it. I've heard about it, but I've never read it. So I'll probably go with that, even though I've been thinking about reading The Prince, which is like the complete polar opposite of Dostoevsky. But I feel like that's gonna be like, that'll be really cool, you know, instead of just hammering home the whole Christian Greek philosophy, you know, kind of like switch, you know, do Dostoevsky and then do Machiavelli and then do some Stoicism, or do some Stoicism after Dostoevsky and then do Machiavelli. And then I purchased 2 books from Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil and the Antichrist, which he digs into Christianity, which is going to be really fun. I want to read a little bit more philosophy before I go ahead with Nietzsche. I think Nietzsche for me is going to be like the final boss, I guess you could say. I've always been very, he spoke to me quite profoundly, you know. I just feel like I wasn't ready for him just yet, you know, in terms of understanding philosophy, in terms of understanding what he's trying to say. So I really do feel like I want to read different philosophies, different philosophers before I go to him, because he basically demolishes everyone. So that's basically gonna be the plan of attack. It doesn't seem like a very definite plan of attack, but you know, at least there's a road. But apart from that, there was an important segment that was missed in the Brothers Karamazov that I missed, unfortunately. But you know, backtracking before we get really like, I'm getting to the main event of the book, and what I wanted to discuss today was about the man that was basically whooped in the tavern by Dmitri, some guy that was employed by Fyodor in order to coerce, I think it was Fyodor or Gruchenska, I think, or both, that were trying to get Fyodor to Dmitri to back off and something like that, and he was getting paid by Fyodor to be a spy basically. And Dmitri somehow finds out about this. I think it's because of Gruchenska. And he drags him by his beard and beats the shit out of him outside the tavern. And while he's doing this, his young son, I honestly forgot his name, it's been a minute since like this event transpired, and then they haven't really circled around to it just yet. I forgot the name of the kid. He's a little jib, very undernourished and stuff like that, because his dad is very poor, and obviously if you're not nourished, you're not going to grow. So he watches this traumatic event and he tries to save his dad, and he grabs Dmitri by the arms and tells him, "Oh, my dad is sorry, you know, asking for forgiveness," when it's Dmitri that's beating his dad's ass, you know. It's quite bizarre. But everyone in the town sees this, and everyone in the town starts ridiculing him because he's a poor guy. He doesn't really have a lot going for him. He lives in the bad part of town. One of his daughters is a paraplegic or something like that. His wife is a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So it's not a very well-balanced family or well-established family. They don't have any money. They don't have any good reputation. They're very dirt poor. And no one seems to give a fuck. Everyone just makes fun of him. They call him Whisperu now because apparently he has, like, you know, something with his beard or mustache or some shit, and they dragged him. So the kids start making fun of the schoolmates of the son start making fun of him, and his son becomes very vengeful, very defensive for his father, and he's literally stabbed the kid in the hand and everything. And Alyosha runs into him because as he's walking down the road, he sees a bunch of kids carrying rocks and stuff, and they start throwing it at this kid. Like, at first he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know these people. There's a fucking big ass dragonfly, and I'm really hoping he did not pull up in here. But yeah, they start throwing rocks at this kid, and it's basically like 6-on-1 kind of thing. And they hit him in the chest, they hit him in the head. It's very violent, you know. Obviously, you don't want to be throwing rocks. You can kill somebody. But apparently, somehow the kid knows about Alyosha, and he knows the relations between him and Dmitri. And as Alyosha tries to talk to him and see if he's okay, this kid gets very defensive and bites him hard as fuck. He makes him bleed and shit on his hand, and runs away and just doesn't want anything to do with him. And Alyosha at first doesn't know what's going on. And this is when he goes to Katerina's house, and I believe he declares his love to the paraplegic girl that apparently might get healed and all that shit. And this is where, you know, I'm just gonna skip this because I'm pretty sure I've already talked about this before. I think this is the moment where Ivan is there as well. Like I said, I kind of skipped over it because I got really excited about Ivan staying with Katerina and stuff. His declaration that he no longer loves her, and he knows that she never loved him. And so Katerina gives him these 200 rubles to help out the father that was beaten up. But he didn't, you know, this connection wasn't made in Alyosha's mind. On, you know, the son was the father, the kid is the son of the same person that she's talking about. And so as he goes to this person's house, the guy's house, he sees, you know, the depths that they live in, which is how the guy likes to describe it. He goes up to him, and he's very, very timid, but very alert. Like he has like a weird frenzy type of character. Like, he's the type of guy that acts hard, but you can tell that he's a coward. And so he starts talking to him about their present situation, their troubles. You see that they're living in a small, cluttered place. Just not very good, you know. He was dishonorably discharged. He's a fucking drunk, and he's under the appointment of Fyodor. And now he's getting fucked over because now Fyodor is making it seem like he had nothing to do with it, and he's basically not getting paid. So now he's getting really fucked. And so as Alyosha is witnessing all of this and stuff like that, the kid is there. The kid walks in, and he's like, "Oh, were you the one that beat my son? Like, was my son the one that bit you and stuff like that?" And Alyosha goes, "Oh yeah, that was him, but it's, you know, it's okay." He's like, "Oh, would you like me to whip him, sir? Would you like me to beat his ass in front of you, sir?" And he's like, "No, dude, I don't know what you're talking about." Like, he's like, "Oh, did you really think that I was gonna whip my son's ass for you? Fuck you!" Like I'm obviously paraphrasing, but he's just a very weird, eccentric guy. You know, he's clearly under severe desperation and you know, at the bottom of the rung. You know, and the reason I talk about this is because as they go on a walk outside, it's clearly shown that you know, no one gave a fuck what happened to him. No one pressed charges. Nothing could be done. No one did anything for him. And it really goes to show how, like, the strong, you know, trample over the weak and the pitiful and the poor. And there's really no punishment. There's no consequence. There's no holy retribution for justice. And so the whole notion of good and evil in itself becomes compromised, you know, because if it was good, then it would happen with good people. But if it was, you know what I'm saying? So it becomes quite a conundrum, especially with this story, because clearly the guy didn't, you know, was he in the wrong? But did he deserve to get his ass whooped like that? Did he deserve to get embarrassed just for doing a job? Was it justifiable for Dmitri to act that way, all violently and humiliate the poor guy like that? You know, I don't think so. But, you know, his son is his son was deeply affected by this. His son, you know, that's why he becomes very defensive, and he would tell his dad, because they would go on walks together, tell his dad, oh, when I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to join the military, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to beat this motherfucker's ass, and I'm going to point a gun or a sword to him and tell him, oh, you know what, I forgive you. And I try to be the bigger man, but at first humiliate him and have his life in his hands, just like he had his father's life in his hands as well. So, and it just shows you right there the cycle of retribution, the cycle of vengeance, what was it, like back in Italy, like I forgot the something when vendetta. It's like, you know, like the whole vendetta is like, oh, you killed my brother, so I have to kill you, or I have to kill one of your family members, and it just goes on and on and on. The circle of violence, and you know, at the end of the day, violence really doesn't resolve violence. You know, it's just going to perpetuate even more violence, and we're never gonna finish anywhere. And that's why humiliating treaties like the Treaty of Versailles, for example, after a great conflict, causes what happened in the 1930s and 40s. I don't need to go into depth in that unless you lived under a rock and you're an idiot. So it's very confusing, because the guy starts telling him, like, you know, all the struggles that he's going through, and Alyosha presents him with the money. I think it's more than 200 rubles, but it's something. And at first the guy is absolutely ecstatic. He's very elated. He is full of joy, and he starts talking about how they can resolve this, how you can maybe, you know, purchase a horse with a carriage and take the family to another town and start fresh, or pay for the medication for his paraplegic daughter, or help his another daughter that came from St. Petersburg that was helping him out to go back to school, or to help his son, and how so many things could be resolved with this money, this handout. And Alyosha says, yes, bro, like, I'm so happy for you, like, please do so. Like, and he's like, look, if you want, like, no, he tells him that it's Katerina, like the fiance of Dmitri, and she feels bad, and she wants to help him out. Like, she feels like she owes him because of the embarrassment that was caused by her fiance. And at first he's cool with that, but then Alyosha messes up in his naivety and starts saying, yeah, man, like, if you want, I can get more money for you, I'll give you all money I can. And that kind of, I think, really affected his pride. And he's like, what the fuck, like, why do you need to give me money? Why do I need more handouts? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we men are very prideful beings, and we don't like to be indebted. You know, we don't like to believe that we are just being given these things and without having to earn it, without having to work for it. You know what I'm saying? It's very embarrassing. And so this guy's like entire personality just fucking like completely does like a 180. And he grabs it and he starts laughing, and he throws the money on the ground and starts stomping on it. And he's like, what do you, what do you expect me to explain to my son? Like, you think that I'm going to be bought with just 200 rubles? You think, you know, how am I going to explain to my son that my pain and my suffering and the suffering that he went through is only worth this much money? Like, you know, how do you explain that to him? How do you explain to your son that you could get your ass whipped and all you need is a little bit of money and everything's going to be okay? Like, that's not how it should be. That's not how it goes. And he runs off. And Alyosha talks to the girl he's in love. And then after that incident, he's like, oh, I'm going to go back to him. Like, clearly he was just being a very powerful guy. He's going to come back and he's going to be like, oh, shit, my pride got in the way of me really resolving things for my family. But that in itself is kind of a moral conundrum, if you think about it, like a moral perplexity, because I think it just sets a precedent. Like, yes, they're trying to rectify the horrible situation that transpired, but if you take that money, then, you know, right, is all the pain just worth that amount of money? It's very difficult. I am so sorry. That workout's beating my ass, and I have so much more time to go at work. God. And I talk about this because this is going to be very important later on. I remember enough of Brothers Karamazov to know that this is all like that, and that interaction eventually is going to blow up into something very important in the character development of Alyosha. Alyosha doesn't know how to respond to this. Like, he's being very naive and thinking, oh yeah, he's just going to go for it. He's going to know that he's in the right. It's in the right to take this money. But we humans are much more complicated than that. Like, yeah, we have to do what's right, but we are very prideful, we have feelings, and we don't like to think that we could just be bought like that. You know, at least most of us. There are some people that have no shame. But it is a shameful thing to be given money like, oh, here's for your trouble, I'm really sorry, and then that's it. We seem to lean to want more than that, to feel like there's an exchange, like an equal exchange of embarrassment or whatever, an equal amount of force that's reciprocated in some form or fashion. So it's very interesting, you know, the guy is really going through it. He's in the gutter, his son's in the gutter, and his son is starting to get really sick. I guess all this pain and this anger and all these weird feelings and getting hit in the chest by a rock is really starting to take a toll on the kid. And the fact that, you know, he's very poor and he's very malnourished, he's very small, very skinny, so he's getting picked on all the time because he wants to fight everybody. He's just very angry at the injustice done to his father, and it just seems like there's not going to be no reparations. There's not, you know, people are just ridicule him, you know, and the poor kid is really going through quite a traumatic event, and it's really starting to manifest itself physiologically, and it's going to hurt him. And well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I kind of know what's going to happen next, but yeah, I just want to talk about that. And like I said, they haven't really circled back to it because where I am in the book, it's all about to come to a bit like all about to climax in terms of the main story between Fyodor and Dmitri. Dmitri starting to get really desperate and really stupid. Well, he's always been kind of stupid, but a little bit more stupid than usual. Oh my God, how embarrassed I am! So I apologize. So that'll be it for today. I can't wait to go back to see how this works. You know, this kid is being the one that's being mainly the victim, not the dad. The dad's grown, the guy kind of knows, you know, this is just how the world works, you know. You're not always going to get what you want. You're not always going to get justice. You're not always going to have the good things happen. The world just really doesn't work that way, you know. The good people don't win all the time. They rarely ever win, if you really think about it, considering who's leading the world right now. I don't think anybody in their right mind will call them good people. So it's just food. It's very interesting to kind of figure this out, you know, the whole thing about good and love and all this shit will win in the end. But there's countless examples of the complete opposite being the case. And this is going to really take a toll on Alyosha because I don't think he really can answer this either. Like, who can? You know. But that's part of his development. At the end of the day, he is a hero. He is the main character of the story. So all of this is just basically, you know, to show how you can rise above through the love of God, I suppose. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I never say this, but I feel like I have to. I feel like it's an imperative to do so. But yeah, don't forget to do that. If you have any questions, comments, or you have something to add to this, feel free to drop them down below. I hope I get people to read this. It's really fucking good. I really do want to go on that Dostoevsky marathon, but like I said, I don't want to just I don't really want to constantly read the same ethics and morals. So I'm probably just going to be switching around for a while. Like, switch around and read a book on Stoicism or something like that, and then go back to Dostoevsky. And in a bit later on, get to Nietzsche. And that's going to be really fun. I can't wait for that. So, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all made or make some gains. I don't know if you already have or you haven't done so, but please do so. So, love you all, and until next time. Peace.